Saint Lorenzo Ruiz is a Filipino saint venerated in the Catholic Church. A Chinese Filipino, he became his country's proto-martyr after his execution in Japan by the Tokugawa shogunate during its persecution of Japanese Christians in the 17th century. Lorenzo was born around 1600 in the Binondo district of Manila to a Catholic Chinese and Filipino couple. His father taught him Chinese, while his mother taught him Tagalog. He attended a school run by Spanish Dominican friars, as well as serving as an altar boy and a sacristan for the church in his district of Manila. Inspired by the Dominicans, Lorenzo joined the Confraternity of the Holy Rosary. Contemporaries noticed in a particular way his honesty and trustworthiness, to the point that the Dominican friars made him their unofficial messenger as well. Lorenzo grew up and married a Filipino woman named Rosario, and with her had 3 children. He continued to work as a clerk and as a translator for the Spaniards, and their life remained normal. Lorenzo kept his close ties with the Dominicans and helped them in ministering to the people in Manila. His normal life took a bad turn when he was implicated in the murder of a Spaniard one day. Nothing further is known except the statement of 2 Dominicans that he was sought by the authorities on account of a homicide to which he was present or which was attributed to him. Ruiz couldn't trust the courts. He knew that much. He knew that he couldn't turn to the government for help. He decided to leave his home and seek a safe place to hide for a while. He said goodbye to Rosario and left home in the darkness of night. He confided his problem to Father Domingo Gonzalez, a Dominican priest. The priest was kind towards Lorenzo, and he was allowed to board their ship. Little did Lorenzo know that they were part of a secret missionary to Japan. Lorenzo was under the impression that they were headed to Macau. He was quite surprised when they told him that they were headed to Japan. The 3 Dominican priests were Saint Antonio Gonzalez, Saint Guillermo Cortet, and Saint Miguel de Azora and Saint Miguel de Alzaraza. There was a Japanese priest present named Saint Vicente Shiwozuka de la Cruz, and also a lay leper, Saint Lazaro of Kyoto. As soon as the group landed in Japan, they were arrested. A violent persecution against Christians was being enforced by Emperor Tokugawa Iemitsu to prevent the spread of Christianity in Japan. The missionaries were arrested and thrown into prison, and after 2 years, they were transferred to Nagasaki to face trial by torture. The group endured many and various cruel methods of torture. Back in Manila, Rosario never heard a word from Lorenzo. The emperor gave them an offer. They could leave Japan as long as they were willing to renounce their faith. The missionaries agreed to leave Japan, but they said they will never renounce their faith. This made the Shogun Lord extremely furious, for none has ever refused the shogunate before. Unaccustomed to rejection, the shoguns considered the group's decision as an insult to their empire and immediately sent the prisoners to their slow and painful execution. The prisoners were forced to drink inhuman amounts of water. They were stabbed, pressed, soaked, and repeatedly crushed. Their captors emphasized that the torture would stop if they renounced their faith. When Lorenzo saw this, he got terrified for a moment. It was just a moment when he fell into a spiritual darkness. He quickly prayed the rosary and found relief and had more courage than before. He even started comforting his companions in jail, asking them to have faith in the Lord's grand plan. That night, he prayed the rosary as often as he could. The missionaries were subjected to water torture first. Despite the painful torture, the men refused to renounce their faith. Following this, the soldiers hung the missionaries upside down over a large pit. One among the soldiers took pity on Lorenzo and persuaded him to renounce his faith to end his agony. Lorenzo answered, "This I will never do, because I am a Christian, and I shall die for God, and for Him I would give many thousands of lives if I had them. And so, do with me as you please." Lorenzo died from bleeding and suffocation, and so did the other missionaries. Saint Lorenzo Ruiz died as he lived, a servant of the Lord. There are countless miracles attributed to Saint Lorenzo Ruiz. The one that stands out the most was the story of Cecilia Alegria Policarpio, a 2-year-old girl suffering from a rare brain disease. One night, as her family and supporters prayed to Ruiz for his intercession, the saint appeared to her in a vision. In her recollection, Cecilia said she was lying on her bed, unable to move from the pain, when she noticed a light. She remembered seeing a man holding a rosary, looking up to the heavens. The following morning, her illness was completely gone. She was able to sit on the bed by herself for the first time in her life.